What's good, Radioheads? You know this is El Man, and I have my second movie review ever. Gonna review right now Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. I got notes on this, so let's go. Wakanda, Wakanda, more like Wakanda. Sorry, that movie was whack. Had me thinking, what kind of movie am I watching? What kind of person would find this interesting? What kind of society are we living in that thinks that this is exciting? What did I think of Wakanda? I don't think I'm going to be running to see Wakanda 3. I'm not going to be walking. I'm not going to be tiptoeing. And I'm not even going to be crawling. Maybe I would see Wakanda 3 to hate watch it. I'm not trying to spread hate. But sometimes it's fun to just really watch something and be like, what the hell is this? Now, the only reason I'm reviewing this movie, I don't review movies. This is my second review ever, I believe. It's because when I agreed to go to this movie, which I really didn't agree to do, the person who bought tickets for this movie bought them without me even confirming that I'm going. So I look at the movie and I see the runtime is 2 hours and 40 or 41 minutes. And then I look to see that the guy already bought tickets. And I'm like, what the hell? So now I'm stuck in the theater for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I mean, being stuck in the theater for anything over an hour or 90 minutes is like, you're really pushing it. So for me, as soon as I saw 2 hours and 40-minute runtime, I'm thinking, who in their right mind is so self-indulgent and full of themselves and narcissistic to think that anybody wants to sit through their art for 2 hours and 40 minutes? Me, as a stand-up, I feel like 5 minutes, maybe an hour if I got good material, if our comedians got good material. If I'm doing a movie, I probably will never make a movie that's over 90 minutes. I think even 45 minutes in training, it's about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. That's when people get tired. All right, so Wakanda, I wanted to like it. I so wanted to like it. But my God, the whole time I'm sitting there, and even since, I kept on valuing and thinking what could be done in 3 hours. Because you think about it, I left my house, I started getting ready around 5 or 6. I leave the house, I think 6ish to get to the movie, and by the time I got home it was about 11, and then I had to eat something, it was 12. So basically 5 p.m. to 12, at least 6 hours, about 7 hours of my life was used just going to see this movie. I mean, I could probably become a surgeon in the amount of time that this movie took up. I mean, if I focused. If you focus, you could do anything. If you believe it, you can be it. All right, so let's go to the specifics. Angela Bassett's face, so beautiful. Did they honor her? I'm going to say nah, not really, because a real honor would be giving her interesting dialogue, which would make her appear intelligent, interesting, engaging, wise, inspirational, eloquent. I mean, her face was there, but yeah, make her shine with a few words and say, wow, that woman's really profound. But to me, the movie's making her, and then if you want to make a blanket statement about women, which is never a good idea, if she looks like she has nothing too exciting to say, then women look like they have nothing too exciting to say. But again, never do that. Never do that. But there is a lot of talk about how women are represented and black people are represented and white people are represented. There's a lot of talk about representation in this movie, which that alone is just kind of disgusting. So I'm not going to talk about representation. That word was used a lot. All right. So Angela Bassett, I didn't find that she said too much, but then on the flip side, I could give her credit because we're a society full of talking points that's saying, oh, you have to speak your truth, and people put so much emphasis in the media on speaking your truth, but what about doing? We have all this focus on talk, enough talk. How about the action? Where this woman in this movie, she definitely was all about the action. I found her to be a woman of few words, boring for the screen, but she seemed to get things done, and that's admirable. So I'm a little back and forth on her verbal stuff. To me, if we were friends, she's gonna have to say more. Merman, favorite part of the film. Probably the only thing I like, the guy with the doves. I think he has like dubbed winged feet. By the way, spoilers. 4 minutes and 32 minutes into this, lots of spoilers into this. Okay, there's beautiful landscape shots. There's the merman playgrounds. Wakanda's really a beautiful, stunning place. Just due to the visuals, I mean, that kept me kind of happy. I was like, okay, it felt like I went somewhere really beautiful. But to really seal the deal, I'd like to see a cameo featuring Carmen Electra and Victor Webster and Ice Cube. And then that movie would be complete. If you don't know who Victor Webster is, he's like one of the most stunning men on the planet, and you should definitely look him up. All right. Another positive for this movie, it's nice to show smart women. There's a scientist, there's a powerful queen, a genius daughter who became a princess. But what about the powerful men? There really weren't too many powerful men. There was like some warrior guy that looked pretty strong, and then there was the merman dude, who I really like, the merman guy. All right, so yeah, this is true. I wrote this. You know how the cliche is that guys think about baseball and their grandma to slow down? Well, I'll think of Wakanda. Wakanda is the new baseball. Like, my grandma, baseball. Let's get us out of the mood. Wakanda. I mean, for me, Wakanda is going to just take me right out of the mood. This movie was not my version of what I think is sexy, which I think very witty language is sexy, and Carmen Electra and Victor Webster and Ice Cube. Yeah. All right. There's a saying, why say something with 10 words when you could say it with 1 or 2 words? Well, I think this movie ran with that way too far. This was a movie of very few words. I feel like the whole movie dialogue could just be summed up with, hello, my name is Aman. Yes, we must fight. I mean, that's really what I heard. I don't know. I was so bored and angry by how bored I was during the whole movie that I didn't hear a lot of things. I just, to me, there was zero dialogue. And it seemed like it was written by an 11-year-old with zero sex appeal, which I guess 11-year-olds aren't supposed to have sex appeal, so I guess that's a good thing. But I really feel like in the writer's room, maybe a word came up and they're like, oh, anyone over 12 is gonna get this. You know, we got to make sure that only people who haven't gone to any college, which college is overrated, so I'm not pushing college on anyone. I almost wish I didn't go to college. But, and anyone, I just feel like this was made for kind of morons, people with moron vocabulary, or people with very limited vocabulary. This movie is good for them. This is not a movie to learn mastering the English language. I just feel like they could have upped the vocabulary. Not that my vocabulary is so great ever, or in this video for sure. But hey, this is my review. This is one thing I'm looking for. I want to learn some words. I want to have to see something on screen and go, holy, what does that mean? I got to look it up. I predicted not liking it, but I was actually in amazement and slightly bewildered that it exceeded my expectations for boring. It was way more boring and unexciting than I expected. My expectations are usually on par. I mean, I guess I started getting angry the second those tickets were bought. Maybe something in me psychically. I just knew I wasn't going to like this movie. All right, this movie's perfect for deaf people because nothing of value was said. So this is great. If you're deaf, you could just enjoy the beautiful visuals. I didn't hear anything that was really thought-provoking. The only thing that this movie did that provoked the thought was it made me question my existence. And this is not me trying to be funny. Women aren't funny. Someone just wrote that on my YouTube. So, I learned that today. Women aren't funny. So the thing I was questioning about my existence was, where do I fit in this world? If this movie is a blockbuster hit and everyone likes this and I don't like it, maybe something's wrong with me. And I really was thinking that a lot of things were wrong with me, but then a few people told me that it got a lot of bad reviews. And after I listened to only one review, I was like, okay, I'm not that far of a deviant in the social experience, because I'm like, I'm used to not fitting into so many social norms, but if this is the norm for excellence, I'm just not there. All right, the whales, on a positive note again, the whales were cool. And there was one piece of squash. I don't know if it was an acorn squash or a butternut squash, but I like squash. And it was nice to see some healthy food. Again, I wrote about the 12-year-olds being the vocabulary level. I Ice Cube needs to speak out about the Democrats and Wakanda. You can do your own research to understand what that is. All right, so I did a live notes from the theater, so I'm just going to read you some of my notes. All right, it's 1 hour later. I still hate it. It's 2 hours later. I still hate it. 4 hours later. I got home after that. I still hated it. Absence from the movie and even closing my eyes in the middle of the movie did not make my heart grow fonder, and some time has passed since I saw the movie a few weeks ago, and I don't think my heart has grown any fonder. So back to the movie theater, my notes. There were really cool swords that cut guns. See, anytime I saw something I liked, I tried to write it down. See, I tried to be positive. I mean, swords that cut guns, that's pretty cool. There were people climbing out of the sides of ships and spinning helicopters around. The lead's perfect skin, Angela Bassett, at whatever years old, I was trying to see if she had scars above her eyebrows that shows she had a facelift. And this is no shade. I'm a licensed cosmetologist and makeup artist. I like to see what people do to make themselves look awesome. More notes from inside the theater. The guy rises from the water wearing a pearl necklace. Is he Spanish? Is he an elf? Is he gay? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've been bored for 80% of this movie, and I'm only 20 minutes in. I'd rather listen to my dad's recipes that are at least 20 minutes long. It's been 40 minutes. There's no jokes. Not one joke. Nothing witty. Shove vibranium where the sun don't shine. And when she put on the Iron Man flying suit and exited through the roof, I was hoping that she would take me with her. Please, just take me through the roof. Take me out of here. There's a really cute little girl. All right. There's nice scenic landscape shots. This movie, it's no Gravesend, but it's still cool. That's something to think about. The movie started at 7 p.m. It's 8:33. I still don't care. Maybe I'm a bad person. Am I a bad person? Do I have no taste? Do I have a chemical imbalance? Should I care more about this movie? I'm thinking about eating the baked potatoes I made. Maybe I'll stay fasted till tomorrow. I don't know. Back to the movie. Who the cares? How's Joe Biden's brain? All things I'm thinking about instead of into the plot of the movie, because nothing really hooked me. Warning, during a speaking engagement, someone could try to rob you. So if you ever say yes to a speaking engagement, this happened to one of the characters, everyone knows you're going to speak, and then they know, oh, you're not going to be home. We can rob them. Someone said, you just hung up on the queen. She goes, I just hung up on my mom. There's a difference. So finally, after about an hour, there was a joke. You know, she's dissing her mom. Whoa. And that leads me to talk about how familiarity breeds a lack of respect. So usually there's a lack of respect when you live with someone because familiarity breeds contempt. And when you get to know anyone, a lot of their magical qualities just are dimmed. So if you want to seem like a powerful queen, well, don't get close to your family and don't live with anyone because it takes away a lot of the magical joie de vivre. So yeah, don't live with anyone, and if you have kids or a husband or parents, a lot of times they're not going to really be impressed, even if you are the queen or the king, as we see in this movie. There's a heartfelt speech at the end, about 9:25 p.m., 2.5 hours in, and after 2 hours, I just don't care. So sorry about your heartfelt speech 2.5 hours in. I don't know. I think for a lot of attention spans, the people are probably just done. There was one other movie I watched very recently. I'm not going to say the name of it. And I just couldn't get into it. And the whole time I'm watching several episodes, I'm thinking, is there something wrong with me that I don't like this? You know, people think it's so great and they say, oh, this is amazing. You got to watch this. You got to watch this. You got to watch this. And I'm watching it and I don't care. I don't care at all. And I'm like, is there something wrong with me that I don't like what everyone thinks is cool? So, you know, when that happens, if you look at reviews, a lot of times you might realize that you're not crazy. I was starting to think maybe something was wrong with me that I'm not liking this movie and this other show. Final thoughts. I'd like to have that much faith in a dude in his underwear. That's a lot of power to make so many submit. What does it take to have hundreds submit to your leadership? And I'd like to see this movie rewritten by Larry David or me. If Larry David wrote some comedy into this and kept the beautiful landscapes, this could be really cool. So just basically, Wakanda Forever for Never could be a decent movie if you just throw the script in the garbage. You can keep maybe 2 sentences, keep the background. You can keep all the actors. Just add Carmen Electra, add Victor Webster, add Ice Cube, add some jokes, add a little sexiness. I mean, you can mix up the outfits a little, perhaps. Throw in a few jokes, and then it'd be a great movie because it'd be totally different. Okay, signing off. Back to you, Mark.